digitalization, M2M connectivity, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, and virtual reality, humanity stands on the verge of a new technological revolution. The fourth industrial, as is customary to call it. It will radically change the way people live, work, and interact. In a special program, Digital Kazakhstan, we tell about what steps are being made in this direction in the Republic and what has already been achieved thanks to the adoption of new technologies. The central theme of this release will be digital document workflow. In the present-day world, absolutely all documents are created on a computer, but 85% of them are still being printed for later acquaintance, approval, and launch. In order to reach the recipient, these paper documents need to go a long way, during which they can get lost by a courier, be delivered to the wrong address, be damaged during transportation, be late for the appointed time, and much more. As a consequence, an enormous loss of time and irrational use of human and financial resources. However, all this can be avoided by implementing a new document management system, which is called Digital Document Workflow. Digital document workflow in a single mechanism for working with documents presented in electronic form with the implementation of a paperless document control concept. It can be conditionally divided into three key segments. Internal document workflow, assuming optimization of work within the company. External document workflow, which includes interaction with other organizations, and blockchain, a single digital database of economic transactions. In this large company on selling pharmaceutical products, digital document workflow has been introduced under compulsion. As part of Kazakhstan's accession to the WTO, companies engaged in cross-border trade of Eurasian Economic Union member states were forced to issue an electronic invoice. All companies are obliged to issue electronic invoices, regardless of the rates they import products to Kazakhstan, at reduced or WTO rates. This law was adopted so soon that we were not ready for this. The issue had to be solved in the shortest time, and then the management of MedService Plus applied to the young Almaty company iDocs, which developed a platform for electronic transactions management. Since the contract signing and the new system integration, a year and a half of successful and efficient paperless work has already passed. At the present time, in addition to electronic invoices issuing, we have implemented acts of provided services signing in electronic version. We also sign reconciliation acts with some companies through this system. For a company that has 16 branches in the entire Republic, electronic document workflow has become a real salvation, since those issues that previously took up to 3 business days now take a few minutes. It is worth to note that the founders of iDocs company themselves entered the world of digital document workflow accidentally. They had worked on a completely different IT project, and time after time, they faced the need to sign various papers and send them to the cities of Kazakhstan. All this took a significant part of time and money, which at that time the company already had a little. And the founders had the idea to take an electronic document, sign it with the help of an electronic digital signature, and put it into workflow in digital form. We naively believe that we are innovators, the first people in the world to have such an idea. For 2 weeks, we were in euphoria, delighted with ourselves, believing we had invented something new that would help us make big money. Then we had learned that there are similar projects in America and Russia, but nevertheless, there was no such project in Kazakhstan yet. Soon the developers received a grant in the amount of $100,000 for the development from the Center of Technology's Commercialization under the Ministry of Education, and in less than a year, from a small startup, they turned into a high-quality internet platform that performs external, legally significant electronic document workflow. If the company does not use our system and has never heard about it, can still interact with a counterparty working through our service. Everything is very simple. It will receive the necessary documents with a digital signature by email. These documents can be downloaded as a PDF, XML, or immediately signed. It is not more difficult to work with the new system than using an internet browser. It is necessary to select the form of the document in the general list, fill it in and save it, set the route for approval within the company, and put an electronic digital signature. Documents signed by an electronic digital signature have the same force as paper documents, provided that EDS, used in this case, meets the criteria established by law. It should be noted that today there is no need to store any paper copies of the electronic documents, since the document created initially in electronic form is recognized as the original, the script. During the existence of the platform, over 1,200,000 documents have passed through the common database, and this figure is constantly growing. At the height of the working day, up to 30 new documents per minute enter the database. Among the users of the platform are over 300 organizations, including banks, large pharmaceuticals, logistic companies, leading car dealers, and even small IE. We have our own approach to any company. If you can sign any documents through iDocs portal, then the iDocs engine itself can be integrated into any business process of any company. Banking industry is far not a solitary one sphere in which electronic document workflow is necessary for operations, performing with credit request. Thus, the national managing holding Kazakhstan successfully implemented an interactive collecting system and credit request processing, for which only a computer connected to the internet is needed and the presence of electronic digital signature of the applicant. As you know, at various times the government of our republic had announced the digitalization of Kazakhstan, the increase in transparency of filing such credit requests, the reduction of their review time. As a result, we started to work towards optimization of this process. The credit request submission in electronic format is extremely simple. It is enough to fill out the completed form on Kazakhstan Internet portal. At the same time, some documents are downloaded from e-government portal automatically, and non-automated documents must be attached from the user's computer and signed by the EDS. Further, the generated electronic credit request will be sent to the relevant subsidiary, and the borrower will be able to track the status of the request at each stage through a personal cabinet. Such system will help both sides to reduce financial and time costs in half. Interactive system of collecting and credit request processing are not the only element of digital document workflow used by the National Management Holding, Kazakhstan. In addition to this proprietary development, the organization also uses a corporate solution for Documentalog, IT company, a leading capital provider of digital document workflow services.
В 2016 году проанализировали 82 компании наши.
In 2016, we asked 82 of our companies with a view to how many documents were created and how long the companies worked. On average, we got an estimate that the time for signing and approving documents was reduced by 23 to 25% respectively. Productivity increased the same.
Сократилось на 23, на 25%. То есть производительность компании выросла на 23-25%.
This 25% includes time for copying, approval, searching for documents, making management decisions, and improving the performance discipline. It would seem ordinary and elementary things, but if you transfer these 25% into a monetary equivalent, you'll get truly astronomical sums. Thus, with an average wage of 150,000 tenge and labor productivity increased by 25%, a company consisting of 20 employees saves about 9 million tenge per year, while a corporation consisting of 1,500 people can expect savings of 690 million tenge. A logical question arises: if everything is so promising, why do still so many people avoid this system? Information technologies have made a huge breakthrough in 20 years, and after all, people could not assume then that it would be so. Moreover, the generation that used to work on paper and was effective now need to adapt to an electronic version. However, this can be overcome, and this is overcome. This large retail and retail network is among those who overcame themselves. They moved to paperless document workflow 3 years ago and already had time to evaluate all advantages of the technology. We accelerated the processes inside the company, the processes of signing and approval on certain documents, which accordingly affects the work of shopping centers, pricing policy changing, holding of shares, implementation and notification of any changes occurring inside. That is, the documentary workflow is flexibility, informativity, and availability. Often the introduction of electronic document workflow is a catalyst for own innovation processes within the company. Therefore, IT specialists of this retail and retail network, inspired by the advantages of electronic document workflow, decided to optimize other areas of the company's life. Their desire resulted in the development of a corporate portal and so-called supplier's cabinet. Through it, our suppliers will have access to our electronic document workflow system. They will be able to upload their documents, invoices, price offers, and commercial offers. Further, on the basis of this development, we want to transfer the bidding system, that is, to place the tender area on EDMS. In case of blockchain, the situation is slightly different. Unlike internal and external document workflow, which is applicable absolutely in all spheres of life, the third element of this system, the blockchain, should be used much more narrowly. At least, that is what specialists think. We need to understand very clearly why we are creating such a system, who will be its end user, and whether we need additional loads to create a blockchain system. Because the blockchain is not just one computer or one group of servers that is centrally located and centrally controlled, and in principle, easy to manage. This is an entire ecosystem in which there are many people, and accordingly they need to understand why they spend their strengths and resources on maintaining this system, how to interest them, and whether it is really effective to use this technology in this particular project. Therefore, the principle of blockchain system functioning can be demonstrated by the example of DNA structure. It has its own chain of transaction blocks. In this case, after the commission and confirmation of any operation, a new block is added to the chain. Moreover, each of such blocks, like DNA cell, contains the information about the entire network as a whole. Thus, blockchain technology initially predetermines the impossibility of fake block adding or removing an existing one, since this will immediately affect the entire system. This makes the new technology attractive primarily for the financial sector. In Kazakhstan, there is already a confirmation. This summer, the National Bank of the Republic published news about the mobile application development that will allow the population to buy and sell valuable securities based on blockchain. From the message of the press service of the National Bank of the Republic of Kazakhstan, the proposed solution will allow citizens to buy and sell online the notes of the National Bank from the mobile phone, bypassing intermediaries in the face of brokers and dealers. No taxes and no commissions. Absolute liquidity and no restrictions on the terms of ownership. The nominal value of one note will be determined in the amount of 100 tenge, which will allow using even a small savings for investment. Currently, there is already a sufficient legislative basis for companies to use electronic document workflow and abandon the paperwork. And at the state level, the steps are taken to simplify the conduct of such business. The business community is talking about the introduction of a single electronic document workflow platform in order to ensure the interaction not only between business entities, but also between the latter and the state. The Non-Commercial International Association on Information and Image Management, based in Maryland, calls on the whole world to switch to paperless workflow for one reason, just because this solution will help to preserve natural resources. The research carried out by scientists of this center showed that saving 1 ton of paper will save 17 trees, 26,000 liters of water, 3 cubic meters of land, 240 liters of fuel, and 4,000 kilowatts of energy. Thus, the introduction of digital workflow will not only lead to optimize business processes and save both private and public funds, but also make a significant contribution to the preservation of the environment.